I will get a text in the morning of these are the most important things that we need to do today.
Yeah.
And it goes back and forth too. Like, I need you to ask your client about this.
Yeah.
I need you to get an answer for that. But
Yeah,
direct,
honest,
honesty.
direct repetition sometimes, right?
Yep.
I mean, on both ends. I'm not saying just.
I mean, we talk about something on a Monday, and by Wednesday it can.
Yeah.
There's so much going on that it just, it's not addressed. We forget about it. But
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Perks and Paving. It's been 1 month since the last recording, but you're here again with me, Paige, and my husband Mark. So thanks for joining us. So we're kicking it off with core value number 2. So
honesty.
Yeah.
So we have 6 core values here at TPG, and the first one I believe in the handbook is honesty. So we want to take some time today to talk about kind of how that translates into our professional business with what we're doing and what we expect from the people we work with, and also what's expected of us to our clients as well. And with it being literally the busiest time of the year right now, I think one of the most important things that this comes into play with is talking with our contractors and getting reasonable expectations, getting honest answers in terms of, for me personally, getting schedule dates. How long is this going to take? When are we going to plan to start this job? And then conveying that to the client. It's probably the hardest part of the job right now is hounding these people down because they're busy as hell, paving, doing concrete, and to get them on the phone and get them from the calendar takes a long time, which is reasonable because, like I said, everyone's busy this time of year, but we're also under a lot of pressure too to deliver answers and provide answers for our clients as well.
Right.
So.
And I think the honesty aspect of it too, like obviously we want to work with these clients, but we don't want a false promise either.
Right.
So and that's not what we do, but I think having those conversations where other people may be potentially false promising, or maybe they're not even aware of the weather in a particular area, but like we keep that very closely on our radar. So when we have to have those difficult conversations, obviously, they're had, but it's always not what the client wants to hear. But I think that's just the industry that we are in. But I think, Eli and the rest of the sales team and Brian has always, just informed us to be upfront and be, just transparent with what it's going to look like, whether it's, how a job's going to look or when a job's going to be scheduled. And I think as long as you paint that picture, things typically go a lot smoother when you have those conversations and are honest up front.
Yeah.
Why are you smiling
because,
and shaking your head at me like that?
I'm just smiling because in the last couple of months, you get really creative with the language you use, especially with clients, because you're not saying, I don't have an update on something that you've asked me for twice this week. It's, I'm very optimistic that we're going to enter this time frame for this job, or I have some encouraging, the weather looks encouraging that we may be able to, but you're never trying to lock it down until you know for sure that it's confirmed with your crew when they're going to be there.
For sure. And I think with that being said too, I mean, being honest too, when we don't have an answer, there's times where we don't have answers to questions. Like we don't know when it's going to be scheduled yet. They haven't had the meetings for scheduling as a team. Whether we haven't sat down to discuss yet, our local team hasn't sat down to discuss those types of things yet. So, or just getting a contractor out to a job, complete different phase of the project.
I'll go
planning,
check it out tomorrow.
But like sometimes we get questions from our clients, and I think being honest that, sometimes we don't know, or, we need to follow up to find out where a project is. But I think not answering and, not providing factual information is what sets people up for failure. So I think that we do a pretty good job at just being upfront with those types of scenarios. So, and
going back to everyone's schedule being super busy, and I'm in pre-con meetings all day long. I know a bunch of people are in budgeting meetings and all sorts of stuff, but I try to my very best. If I see a call that I know I cannot take, like I'm texting you immediately. Like, hey, I'm in a meeting. I will call you right back. I'm not ignoring you. And especially if you're waiting to hear from that person for a couple of days and they finally call back and oh no, like, I'm going to miss them. And
for sure.
But also we've been talking about, sorry to cut you off.
Oh no,
sorry.
You're so excited. Just
I know. Well, we've been talking about it from the service perspective of us servicing our clients, but also what we would expect from our clients and back to us, projects that are high dollar amount or projects that, may not be that, high price point, but still require a lot of detail, a lot of
Yeah.
work, permitting, licensing,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's like, hey, realistically, is this going to go this year? Are we in the running? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Or even just on scope. I mean, be honest on what your expectations are for a scope. You know, if you are able to provide us the guidance on what you expect this project to look like when we're finished, it's going to be much easier for us to scope the project, because there's a variety of scopes that we can put together for one site. You know what I mean? Are you just trying to get it through to the next year? Are you trying to have a solution that's going to last you 20 years? So I think having those conversations, having the client be able to be honest with us and clear with those expectations on the front end, sets us up to, you know, execute with, you know, the end goal being very clear. So, but like you said, outside of like the service perspective, I think just internally too, I mean, there's many times I have to be honest with you if we want to clear and concise. But I think that, I mean, you are with me as well, and I think that's just what helps our team succeed. So if I didn't feel as though I could be honest with you and with Laura, you know, we wouldn't have the team that we have without that. I think we've reached the point where we all feel comfortable with that. It's never us trying to like pick, even though sometimes you may feel that, but it's just, you know, we have these expectations. So I think you've gotten a lot better at accepting like the feedback, and as have I. So I think that's really great. But even just from the perspective of like Brian and his role within the company, I think it's great that like he always encourages us to be honest with him if something's bothering us or something's on our mind. You know, just he always has an open door policy, and we are able to go in and, you know, express any concerns with him. So the fact that he's you know, allowed us the opportunity to be honest with him and bring things to him without feeling like we can't, I think isn't very common in other.
So a couple of things I want to address there. So something that's like often said between Brian and leadership too is run the play. So Paige and I are working on a dozen or so hotels all throughout the country, which she had a very educational experience working on last year. And 2 years ago, and then learning all the things that went poorly or whatever, and fixing them, putting systems in place for this year and going forward. I can say has like, I remember those horror stories you coming home 2 years ago of everything that was going wrong and this and that. And this year, you know, weather's played a couple of things, but me stepping aside and saying like, this is, she's done this before. This is how she said it's gonna go, and it works. And just
and just recall a couple months back, you were like, why do we have to do X, Y, and Z? You know, we tell them, but you know, the communication portion of it allows these projects to go as flawlessly as they possibly can. Like, there's gonna be hiccups. People are gonna drive through cones and caution tape. Who knows why? But people feel like they have that. You know,
my car won't leave that kind of mess.
Yeah. So I mean, those are obviously things that are kind of outside of everyone's control, but. You know, those meetings and being able to have those have allowed our projects to move very, very well this season. So
the other thing, you know, you mentioned Brian having an open door policy. I think our operational, we have a daily huddle every single morning, and I think that's a good place to like air stuff out too, and kind of just talk. I mean, Chad gives us the space. We talk business, of course. You know, here's where we are, where we need to be, blah 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 blah. But at the end, it's always what's on everyone's mind. New news, what's on everyone's mind. And even if you're not in operations, there, you know, you pop your head out every once in a while.
I'll hear something else.
Say something. and so, you know, that's just one of the awesome things that happens here where there's space created and opportunities to get what's out on your chest and say something. So.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think, you know, obviously for anything to run smoothly, honesty is key on all sides. So, you know, we kind of hit on most of it, but I think just playing into the expectations of our contractors as well in this whole puzzle. But contractors, if they're not honest with us, you know, obviously that being a core value, that's very important, and it's a non-negotiable for us. So I think that, you know, if we feel as though that we can't trust our partners that are, going to be on site, probably maybe being in contact with the on-site personnel more so than we may ever be. We have to have that trust in them. So I think, when we don't feel that, we know where that relationship stands, and, can adjust accordingly. So.
And actually going back to, how we pick at each other, or, if we need certain things get done and stuff like that. But I think the one thing that we both have never agreed upon, but understand it to be true though, is like the days that are really pressing is the morning text message of the list of things that we each have to do. Like, so on super critical, time deadlines and stuff like that, where we're, pushing a little bit closer to the edge, is I will get a text in the morning of, these are the most important things that we need to do today. Yeah. And it goes back and forth too. Like, I need you to ask your client about this. Yeah. I need you to get an answer for that. But honest.
Yeah.
Direct.
Honest, direct, repetition sometimes, right?
Yep.
I mean, on both ends. I'm not saying just.
We talk about something on a Monday, and by Wednesday it can. Yeah. There's so much going on that it just, it's not addressed. We forget about it. But
yeah, for sure. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So
let's recap the month a little bit here.
Yeah.
So you went back to Utah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot. I was like, Utah. Yeah. I went back to Utah. Different scenery this time with not being winter. So
it was
so fun. Yeah. We got all the girls out there for a bachelorette party. We did some horseback riding.
Congratulations. Was it your?
No, I didn't actually get to go on one, but no, I don't regret that at all. But it was a good time. But that was when the tragic moment happened while I was gone. Do you remember? My Dyson broke.
Oh.
So,
I thought you were referring about someone. I was like, oh.
No, just my Dyson hairdryer took a turn for the worst, and so that's been the media team's been trying to record just snippets here and there for the last month, and I've been a mess. So the hair is back tamed, back in smooth fashion, but the customer service with Dyson.
You had to work for it.
I had to work for it, that's for sure. I had to use those sales skills. That's negotiating. But yeah, so if you recall, I called Dyson and they told me that I had to register my Dyson. I mean, I don't remember what I did yesterday sometimes, let alone 2 years ago. So I'm like, yeah, I probably registered my Dyson. No, I did not register my Dyson. So they were like, okay, we can help you do that. So I was like, great. So they asked when I purchased it, and I knew you had bought it for me for my birthday in July. And they're like, well, unfortunately, ma'am, it's August, and we only have a 2-year warranty. And I'm like, you're telling me that we spent all this money on this hairdryer, and now I can't do anything about it. And so after, some words, some kind words, but direct words were said, they did agree to send me a new Dyson. But the process for that was kind of funky. So I could get mine to work if I would have taped it or something to get it to position in an exact spot. But I had to return it, and then I had to wait for it to get to the warehouse. From there, they had to do their inspection process of whatever nature. And then it took 10 to 15 days to get back to me. So literally 30 days without a hairdryer. It was rough. But we're good. We're back in action. But you traveled as well.
Yep.
To see your mom.
I did.
She wasn't feeling well.
Yep. Had to brush off the old physical therapy skills for a couple of days. I flew down to Tampa to help her out for a little bit. She just had her follow-up appointment today.
Oh, yeah?
And they did the testing. So.
Oh, okay. Did she get sick?
She had a little dizzy, not bad. But she's doing much better. So
for those listening that are new or don't know, so we're both physical therapists. And what people probably don't know is physical therapists also are able to treat dizziness. So we specialized in treating patients with dizzy conditions. So unfortunately, there's not a ton of healthcare professionals that are able to do what we do, and it's relatively
specialized in it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times they know what's wrong, but like they don't know how to fix it.
Correct.
And honestly, it's fairly simple to fix at times. There's obviously different things that can be going wrong, but if it is BPPV, which is what you think your mom had, correct?
Part of it, yeah.
So that should be able to be resolved fairly quickly. So it's always just sad when you know, someone's unable to get help for an extended period of time when, you know, it should be pretty easy to roll them into a couple positions and you know, cure them essentially. But she was pretty happy that you were able to get down there and help her out.
Yep. Still got to get some work done too, and good to see my mom and go down to Florida for a little bit. Always.
See Ava and Emma.
See my nieces, yeah.
Yep.
Getting so big.
Yeah. Also,
you flew down to Houston and got to meet one of our favorite contractors of all time.
Yeah. So, as a part of the project closeout, sometimes we get to go and travel. You know, it just depends on the client, but this particular client, that was a part of his closeout process to meet on site, which was really, really nice. It went very smooth. But I got to meet Amador, so that was really nice. His dad was with him when I met him as well, but they were finishing up some last-minute things on site that day, but they really went above and beyond on that project. But it's always so nice to be able to, like, meet and have that connection outside of the phone, because obviously so much of what we do is on the phone, but unfortunately, I wish I would have been able to communicate with his dad a little bit more. He only spoke.
Practice,
I know.
Brush it off.
I know. He only spoke Spanish, so he was very quiet when we ate. But you know, I could tell from his expressions he was like enjoying the company. But so yeah, that was nice. And then I also got to go to Charlotte for our one team. It was supposed to be dinner, but brunch for the #1 contractor from 2023, which was really, really delayed, but we finally got around to that. So once again, meeting and, you know, building the relationships with our contractors, the people that we're on the phone with every day, was really nice.
It's got to be fun. Like you talk, I mean, we're on conversations all the time, but we always, you know, whether it's Casey Williams or Amador, are always talking about making plans and meeting up, and we should do this and that. And
I know.
It's got to be exciting to meet him and give him a big hug and thank him for everything in person.
Amador said he might come to Pittsburgh.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he said he wants
He's a big Cowboys fan.
Yeah?
Big Cowboys fan.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Oh, going back to Houston, I think we'll tell Jesse, because I know you're not going to get the same like thrill as Jesse will. So Jesse.
Yes.
Want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this out there for anyone that's listening. I want to hear your craziest site stories with clients.
Oh boy.
So, I mean, it's not like super crazy, but I'm on site in Houston. First time meeting these people. You know, I get off the plane, I meet with the client, we Uber over to the site, and we're walking around. You know, it's a nice sunny day. A storm's definitely brewing, you know, blowing in. And all of a sudden, so we're going through things fast because we're trying to get through this project. And all of a sudden, I like feel something on my feet. I have fire ants all over my feet. God. All over, they're like crawling up my legs. They are biting me. I still have look, I have like scars from these fire ants. Yeah. So I'm like trying to brush them off. They're like, take your shoes and socks off. So I literally am in the middle of the parking lot, shoeless, sockless. And I mean, the client is like flailing my shoe. I'm flapping my socks. I'm like, this is bizarre. I would have never guessed that this would happen the first time I was meeting someone. But I mean, they were crawling up my pant legs and stuff. I mean, it was
How does
wild.
that happen? Is it like a, are there like nests for it? Like, did you step on a nest?
Well, so growing up, I remember that there were nests at my camp, but they were clear like anthills. I did not see any anthills, but It was not fun.
And
but,
how was the pain on a scale of 1 to 10? Because I heard they were like really bad. So maybe I missed.
No, I mean I knew something was like stinging or biting me.
Yeah.
So I'd say like a 5. But it was more so I just knew that it was going to continue, and they were all over both of my feet.
Was it one of those things where you like can tell something's going on and you're not, you don't know what it is, and then once you realize it's like bugs or ants or an animal or something, like it's like whenever you're in the like at the beach and something swims between your legs and you
like
just
seaweed.
you're all of your skin's crawling after that, and you feel so weird.
I know, and I think I was like trying to keep it cool because I mean I'm not trying to be like the girl on the site, like I'm trying to like hang with the men, you know, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, so I'm like, oh, there's like some fire ants on my feet, and they started freaking out. They're like, take the shoes and socks off. So I like went into panic mode, and I started like.
I just wonder how they got like in that big of a colony, like into your shoes. Like were you sitting down somewhere?
No, I was literally
moving.
I was moving. Yeah.
They must be quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was wild. But yeah, I would like. Do you have any like random weird stories? Like no pressure if you can't think of one.
Yeah, I don't know if I could think of anything on the spot. I mean,
animal-related stories?
No, just like any weird work story, like bizarre work story.
I mean,
that
if
like
I thought about this, I could probably come up with a good bit.
I don't know. I mean, no pressure. You can drop it in the comments later, but
here I'll give you one to work with. Let Mark think on this one.
Okay.
So the best one is a couple years ago I was working at right, and I'm dealing with medication, getting calls and stuff like that all day. It is Christmas Eve. Okay. This is where the world's just a simulation. Yeah. It's Christmas Eve, the last call of the day before I go home.
Oh no.
I get a caller that comes through. Take a guess what his name is.
Santa Claus.
Chris Kringle. His name was Christopher Kringle.
Oh.
And that's Santa Claus's actual name. Yeah. Or like what I don't even know. But I get this call and I'm like,
you're like, someone's messing with me.
Yeah, I was like, this is a joke. They're like, no, we swear to God, this is his name. And I like confirm it over the phone and everything. And I was like, life isn't real. Like,
oh my gosh.
The last call of the day, Christmas Eve. I take Christopher Kringle's call and then I go home. So
he had a Christmas Eve emergency.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that's a real thing. So.
That is so funny.
Yeah, so
I had, just speaking of Christmas related things, I had a soccer coach growing up. You want to know what his name was? Barry Christmas. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, great guy. I just
Merry Christmas.
Have a very Merry Christmas. Yeah. Oh my God! When we were in college, I found loves
Christmas.
Yeah, I found this. We had like a soccer party, and I found this sweatshirt, and it was very Merry Christmas or something. I thought it was so clever since our coach was called Merry Christmas. But
that's perfect.
Yeah, but can you think of one? No.
Not at the moment.
We'll circle back with you.
I've had like some weird like celebrity encounters that when I used to work in the pizzeria. I can't remember what year it was, but I think like one of the first or like a #1 Florida Panther draft pick came by for lunch one day, I mean I didn't follow hockey at all at the time, whatever, but like the owner was like super pumped up, and I was like, oh okay, cool. Like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, the first so. I was serving at Nordstrom, which I know that sounds crazy, but Nordstrom actually has
told me about that.
Yeah, as a full service restaurant. And the first day I was serving, the first table I served was David DeCastro from the Steelers at the time.
Okay.
So that's just like another weird.
Ooh, I got a big one actually.
Okay.
The night before my brother got married in Tampa, Florida, John Travolta received a Lifetime Achievement Award for Bollywood, like the equivalent of their Oscars. Yeah. I think it was the first time they ever held it in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And they did it in Tampa. And like we were sitting there the night before my brother gets married. It was me, my dad, my uncle. My uncle goes up to bed. And then all of a sudden he like walks in with a couple of security guards. And I'm like, man, that looks like John Travolta. And I was like,
no way.
And then like a dozen women ran up to him to get autographs and stuff. And I was like, that's John Travolta.
Do you imagine that being life? It's just everywhere you go, you have to take security and just you're going to have flocks of people. I don't know if I envy that. I really don't. Maybe for like a month that'd be fun. But after that.
People who want fame, they have no idea what they're signing up for.
Yeah, no, it's not something I'm drawn to, but it might be cool for like, you get to walk in anywhere, get VIP service. Yeah. It'd be cool for a little bit. But after that, I'd get sick of it. I can guarantee that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. Well, I think the only other thing we wanted to hit on was we got to record a vlog this month.
I love the vlogs.
Yeah, Mark loves the vlog. We went. Where were we that night? We went to dinner, and he was like, "Did you see the vlog?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't watch the full vlog yet." He's like, "Well, did you hear the music? The music was like really good."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That was just like the clip to intro you to the vlog. That wasn't the vlog."
Correct.
So he was a little confused on that. But so yeah, we had that. So we were at our local site in Warrendale. We had paving job. It actually just officially finished yesterday.
Big rail in?
Big rail is in. So railings have been a little bit hard just because of the fact that the fabrication companies just take so long. So it's outside of our control.
Yep.
So we're kind of it's up to them. Whenever they have it ready for us, then we'll install it. But you know, sometimes those things are delayed. So everything else was done. The
local projects are always fun, but this one we got to bring Miles along.
Yeah.
I think it was his first site walk, so it's just interesting. Not that like I've been around forever, but like I'm no longer like the new guy anymore.
I know.
And to like talk about and kind of explain things with him on there, I'm like, man, it feels like a lifetime since I was in his shoes. But it's been like a little over 18 months maybe. Top.
I know. I feel the same way. I remember, you know, when Eli first started bringing me out to the sites, and I would just stand there with him, and I would just take everything in. And you know, if the client wasn't with us, you know, he would, you know, take the time to explain stuff. But you know, that seems like ages ago. And then I also remember the first time when Todd was like, "Hey, can you go and look at this Mannheim for me?" And I was like, I can do it. But that seems like forever ago, and really it was only probably like a year and a half. No. But yeah, seems like forever ago. But now it's crazy that we're bringing people on site and teaching people. So it was nice to kind of show him kind of the flow of a project. He hasn't been on a site before. He doesn't really know what to expect. I think even sometimes when you come and start working here, you don't understand what goes into scheduling. You know, when typically when someone starts working here, they start on the sourcing side. So they're dealing with the contractors, they're getting the proposals, you know, working with the sales executive to, you know, fine tune that before it gets submitted to the client. But from there, it's pretty much hands off, and then it gets shifted to the scheduling team. So for him, and maybe I'm misspeaking, I'm not putting words in his mouth, obviously, but I know for me personally, and I feel like it was the same for you, when we first started getting into scheduling, you're like, well, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? You were going on this day, but, you know, for this local site, we weren't only working with one business. There were maybe 3 or 4 other businesses that shared this big building. Yeah. So we have to go into who all needs to be made aware. Where are these people parking when we're doing our work on this area of the property? We had work on multiple sides of the property, so are we able to do it all at one time? Are we gonna have to make sure that the road is open one day so that they can get access to alternate parking? So there's a lot of moving parts. But yeah, making sure that people are aware of what's happening is crucial so that they can plan, especially with that one. So we had some concrete docks that we were doing concrete work at, and they're constantly using those dock doors. So, you know, for us, you know, we look and see, oh, they have 20 other doors. They're just losing one. It seems easy peasy. But like, there's a reason why there's 20 doors. They're utilizing all 20, you know, 20, maybe not 24/7, but 7 days a week, you know? So going through those motions, when do they need, how long are we gonna be able to shut down access to these doors? So it was nice that project, it went really smooth. There weren't any things that really came up. I feel like we planned appropriately. The roadway was pretty easy because we just did the 2-inch mill and pave, so people were able to still come and go with driving while we did the work. So that obviously makes things a lot easier. But yeah, with that particular client, they request 5-year plans for most of their projects. So this is year 1 of our 5-year plan. So everything is knocked off the list from year 1, and we can just move into year 2 next year. Yep,
Check.
1 off, 4 to go. But yeah, for that one, like obviously, once again, going back to those loading doors, we couldn't do all those loading doors at once. So we literally have it staged over the course of the next 5 years so that it's incremental and not like a big inconvenience to people. So, but yeah, it was nice to talk him through all those things and go see Jake on site with Keystone. He's always such a pleasure to do business with. I got to walk a site with him yesterday and
did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh yeah.
You told me you went to Asmall. You didn't say it was
Yeah, I thought that I was like going to walk a parking lot, and I got there, and it's like a townhouse community. We're walking like behind all the. So imagine our townhouse, how it's like up against the woods.
Mm-hmm.
There were sidewalks, but the sidewalks were like the hillside with the trees were much closer than ours is. So it was like the fence and then the trees and then a skinny strip of sidewalk in between. So we're walking back behind like all of these townhomes. So it was nice to catch up with him and get some morning steps in.
Yeah.
Because we sit all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So when we get out on a job site and get some steppies in, it's always fun. So, but yeah, that's about it for the perks for the month of August. Yeah. It's
November.
Yeah, no, August. So, but yeah. So, want to take us home?
Yeah. Thanks for watching. As always, guys, you can find the Perks in Paving this episode and all of our other episodes on the One Team Media channel on YouTube. And if you haven't already, go download the One Team app. You can have access to all of our shows, all of our podcasts.
Yeah. Anything you want? No. Oh, no, you were just very adamant.
Oh,
download the app.
Download it.
Yeah, download it. Yeah, drop some comments for us. Let us know your funny work stories. I'm curious if anyone else has had anything cool happen. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Later, guys.